Hello. This video is all about one of the most important things that you need to do. In fact, two of them, two of the most important things you need to do if you're going to be successful in almost anything, but certainly in business. The first one is you need consistency. Back years ago, I used to play table tennis at international level. And do you know what? I used to be one of those players that on my day I could almost beat anybody, and on a bad day I could almost lose to anybody too. Why? Because I wasn't really consistent. And that hurt me, I think, right throughout my career. My lack of consistency hurt me. Because it used to mean that I'd do that. I'd have great days, I'd have bad days. And it's the same in business. Now, the other one is persistence. That's missing from so many businesses, particularly when it comes to marketing. And, if you think about how you're going to be more successful in your business, and it's by doing things persistently, consistently, but also I'd add to that is changing your approach if it's not working, because what we don't want to do is keep doing the same things again and again and expecting a different result. Einstein defined that as the definition of insanity, doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. So we don't want to be doing that. But do you know what? One of the biggest mistakes that I have seen in my career, which now just in my current business goes back 27 years. I've spent 27 years working with small businesses, helping them to improve their sales, their marketing, and to grow their business. And I've worked with literally thousands of businesses in hundreds of industries, not quite all over the world, but certainly in many parts of the world, in the Middle East, the Far East, America, and so on and so forth, as well as here in the UK. So, in that time, you don't have to be too bright, basically, to notice there are certain things that work and there are certain things that don't. And one of the big mistakes that I see almost like all the time is people not sticking at it, not being persistent. People tell me all the time, well, I've tried Facebook advertising, but it doesn't work. I'm on LinkedIn, but I don't really win any business from it. I've got a website, but we don't get any leads from it. It's a brochure site, which is one of the biggest cop-outs ever, saying, I've just spent all this money, these thousands of pounds, but I don't expect to win any business. Why the hell not? I know I would. It's got to be worthwhile. Why would you do a new website if you're not going to win any business from it? I don't quite get that. But that said, if it's true that persistence is key, and that changing your approach is also key, and that consistency is the third key to success, then why don't we do it? I think it's almost like a human thing that we try it again. It's a bit like, people join the gym. You join the gym and you've got good intentions and you're going to go there. How long does that last? Well, it lasts for a lot of people a few weeks. For some people, it's a few months. But often people, you take, for example, the new year. We just had Christmas. We've done all the excess eating and drinking and so on. And we get to the new year and we do what? We have a New Year's resolution. This is going to be the new me. I'm going to stop drinking, never drink again. I'm going to stop eating too much. I'm going to eat all the right food. And I'm going to go down the gym 4 or 5 times a week. That's what I'm going to do. What happens? None of that. Well, it happens for a time, but we give in. We don't get the results straight away. You can't go down the gym, do a few curls, and then expect that's it. Well, I'm fit. I don't need to do that anymore. It takes a long time, takes a lot of effort. I was talking to a client of mine who's on my results mastery program this morning and saying to them that, I currently win about 100 grand a year from business that I get on LinkedIn. He said, oh, wow, that's fantastic. How do you do that then? And I said, well, it takes about 10 years. You know, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit because I've been doing it for a few years now. But, you know, in the first year, didn't win any business on LinkedIn. I was on LinkedIn, didn't win any business. And the second year, I hardly won any either. But after a few years, I started to get momentum. I started to find out what worked and what didn't. What most people do on LinkedIn is they set up their profile and they don't do very much. Guess what? You'll be really surprised to hear that they don't get very good rewards. You know, the rewards for not doing very much, the rewards for going down the gym once a month, you know, you might as well not bother. You know, and it's like the rewards for going on to LinkedIn once a month. You might as well not bother. Or the rewards for doing like an email newsletter once a quarter. Don't bother. You know, the chances of you winning business are negligible. You know, people say to me, well, you know, I don't want to bombard people on social media, so I post on there once a fortnight. You know, and I'd say, don't bother. You know, you probably won't win any business. I was listening to somebody the other day talking about social media, and they were saying that they make over $500,000 a year from social media. And the guy interviewing them, this was a YouTube video that I was watching, said, how do you do that? He said, well, we post on there 25 to 35 times every day. Every day. Can you imagine that? You know, most people are doing, I don't know what most people are doing. I do know most people don't do anywhere near enough. But I'd suggest that most people are doing 2 or 3 times a week, maybe. Others are doing once a day, but it's like one post a day, and people are paranoid about doing too much. You take another one, phone calls. Phone calls. You know, how many times do you phone your current clients? Chances are it's not enough. It's not consistently. It's occasionally. How many calls do you make per day? Well, again, if you're like most of the people I speak to, it's nowhere near enough, or it's actually none. You don't get on the phone every day. And here lies some of the problem. So there's 2 things really, just to bring this to a close. Think about what you're doing in terms of your marketing. And there are 2 ways of improving it that are really simple and obvious, but I want to mention them anyway. Number 1 is do more of it. You know, particularly if it's already working. You know, if you're posting on social media and winning business, post more on social business. If you're winning business by picking up the phone, pick up the phone more. If you're winning business from email marketing, do more of that. Excuse me. And then secondly, and probably even more important to do before you do the first one, in effect, is try to improve the response of what you're doing. So if it takes me at the moment, for every 100 phone calls I make, I get 5 meetings. Let's look at the process, the system that you use to make phone calls. What do you say? How do you say it? And how do you overcome objections and so on, in order to go from 5 meetings out of 100 to 7 meetings or 10 meetings. 10 meetings would double your business over time. So would making 200 calls instead of 100 calls. So this is just the real simple, obvious stuff. It's common knowledge, but it's not common practice. People don't do this stuff. They're looking for the new, you know, incredible digital system that nobody else is using right now, which is fine in, you know, developing new stuff. But sometimes we have to go back to basics, back to consistency, back to perseverance, in order to achieve results, whether that's down the gym, in sport, in life, or certainly in sales and marketing. So that's all I've got to say. I hope it was of value. If you want to know more from me, you want to set up a meeting, feel free to do so. The easiest way of doing that is to go to my website, which is steve-harvey.com. bordeaux-mills, mills.com. And you can click on one of the gold buttons, book yourself a meeting using my Calendly link, and hope to meet you soon. Thanks very much.